shut down, it saved. That's all right. Save it like that. Okay, let's start off with the euro dollar, and let's go into our analysis. So the euro is holding above 110, and but I want to really talk to you guys about the massive support level that was broken on on Friday. And I mean, you guys can clearly see the weakness in the euro, and do realize that our flag pattern is now in play. Okay, now what does that mean? Well, what that means is the potential in the euro dollar has now moved to has the potential to move down to 82 cents. Okay. Now, does that mean the euro dollar is going straight there, or is it, are we 100% positive that's where it's going? No, but I think the risks have now increased dramatically that we are going to be moving below parity. Okay, I think that the risks are now elevated quite substantially because of where we're at. Now, what's really going to put us, obviously, when or if the euro breaks through this 105 level, then you can pretty much stick a fork in the euro dollar. Then we're going below parity. Okay, but the risks are very, very high at this stage of the game. Okay, so what we'll be looking for, obviously, moving forward and going into this fall, is these levels of support being tested and possibly broken. So let's start by figuring out why we stopped where we stopped. Okay. My initial response here is going to say, well, let's take the low, from back here around 105, and we'll take those highs right here, and we're not quite at a 618. Now, the 618 retracement comes in around 109.40, so that looks entirely possible, possibly even before the FOMC meeting. But you'll notice that we hit 127% extension of the last move higher, and that has stalled us, and that's at 110, which will tell you that today the important support is the lows that we set the last couple of days. So on Friday, the low was 109.97, right? 96 actually, and the low overnight was 110. So we can just write down 110. I mean, I think that's pretty safe, right? 110, right? That's major support. Now, to short the euro right now, okay, to short the euro right now is pretty risky, but I think being long the euro dollar is even more risky. I think if you're a dollar bear right now, you're pooping your pants, right? To be a longer term dollar bear and to see this move breaking down has to be very disheartening, because like I said, this is this move that you see right here is now a flag pattern that is in play on a weekly basis. It's not that we're down here and we stopped down here. It's the fact that we closed the weekly charts below that trend line. Do you guys understand the significance of that? You guys hear me say this all the time, and I want to say it again. I'll say it right now. Big red bars are usually followed by more big red bars. Or you can say the opposite. A big green bar is usually followed by another big green bar. If you're sitting here looking at this weekly candle, and this is what you see, does it make sense following up with a long right now? I mean, let's look at the follow-ups to big red bars that look like that, just for argument's sake. Here's a big red bar. The following week, yes, we'd got a hammer and then reverse, but it was followed by more selling. Big red bars, followed by more big red bars. Big red bars, followed by more big red bars. You know, big red bars, followed by more big red bars. You know, this one would, these aren't even that big actually. You know what I mean? Red bar, followed by more red bar, followed by, this is, yeah. Ahmed goes, you would be nuts to be looking for longs right now. I know. I mean, if you're out there looking for longs in the market, I mean, come on. I mean, it's like you're sitting there and you've got the flu, right? And you got snot running down your nose. Your eyes are like beet red, and you're just like, I'm not thick. I'm sick. I'm not thick. Like, no, you're sick, clearly, and you need medicine. It's like, look, if you're a dollar bear and you see this happening, and you go, well, it's not really bearish, dude. That's a bearish break. That was a very bearish break. Now, obviously, it's a big week. I mean, the flip side is, do you get really bearish right now? The euro dollar, well, you got the Fed meeting right now, so the Fed meeting tomorrow starts tomorrow, and then they're going to have their Fed announcement on Wednesday. So yeah, maybe you don't want to just run out and start shorting the euro dollar, but man, looking to get long the euro right now, it's risky, really is. Now, support obviously is at 110. Now, where are we going to find resistance? Resistance is easy because anybody who's on the short or on the long side of the euro dollar, they want out now. So any move back up to this previous support, you're going to find sellers. So that comes in at 110.85. Okay. So any move back up to 110.85, there's going to be sellers up there because people want out. Like, you just saw this breakdown in the euro. Get me the hell out. I don't want to be long. If you're long, you're going, I don't want to be long anymore. I just want to get out. So 110.85. So if we can get to 110.85 in the euro dollar, it would probably be or maybe even a 111, 110.85 to 111. The Greek gods. Oh, thank God we got back to 110.85 so I could get out of my longs, or I can get short. Anyway, see, you guys didn't even see that one coming. I tried to give you some fair warning, but whatever. All right, so there's your support, there's your resistance, and let's go into the cable. Let's go into the pound dollar. All right, the pound. Here's the pound, and if the euro is indeed breaking down, I don't think you want to be long the pound either. I mean, you gotta think of this as more of a move that's happening across the board. The euro is obviously, I want to say the benchmark here. So, unless the euro gets an aggressive move back above 111, I don't think there's any reason you want to be long the cable. You know what I mean? Now, are we on support here in the pound? I would say arguably we are. Okay, you can take this trend line here from last week. You can do that, and it tells you how important that support is. Now, you notice we did this range extension, and I sent the alert to our WiseTrade customers, on Friday. I'm like, listen, we got to 153.15, which was the range extension. Do you guys remember that? 153.15. Looks like that. We hit that, and basically stopped. But that really tells you how important this support is for the cable. All right, so let's go over and just okay, so the 618 is basically right here as well. So The low comes in at 153.03, so 153, major support. Okay, if the cable breaks through 153, it's going to open up some downside. Really is. Okay. Resistance. I mean, I think this is key resistance, frankly. So any move up above 154, I'd be a seller. If we can get up there, I'm going to be a seller, actually. I don't know if we're going to make it up there, but I think that any move back up to this 154.15, it's got to be a good short. And I do not have any pound US dollar exposure. My pound, excuse me, as you guys know, my pound exposure is long the pound New Zealand dollar. Okay, but yeah, if the cable got up there, I'd be looking for a short. All right, let's talk about the Swissy. So, do you guys mind if I dude you? Dude, this is a major breakout. This is a major breakout. Okay, and I'm already long. My cost average is basically, I started picking it up on Friday, but my cost average right now, and I've added a little bit to it. Added a little bit this morning. My cost average is 97.93. Okay, and I'll tell you guys, I'm looking to add more above 98.50. I'm looking to add more above 99 cents, and I'm looking to add more above parity. We get above parity, and then then the next one would be above 102.30, and then we got a massive breakout. Okay, so I am looking to add a little bit to the dollar Swiss. I'm not in my full size position yet, but I'm working my way into it. Okay, I'm really looking. This has the potential to be, especially if the dollar really makes a move, this has the potential to put me on the map for a really nice fourth quarter. I know I've talked about this for the last couple of months, and I've talked about there's a couple of trades that have been on my radar that will make my year if it happens, and you're staring at one of them. Would be long dollar Swiss, basically short the Swiss franc. Okay, and the other one's the Aussie New Zealand, but that one hasn't. It needs to get above 114. Now it needs to even get above 110, but that one didn't play itself out. This dollar Swiss though, I will be adding on the way up, and if it breaks out, and if it breaks above 102, I do expect to move up towards like 108, 110, something like that. I would be looking for a move that looks like something like this. Eventually make our way back up towards 112, 110, right up here. And I want to be around and be part of it. Okay, this has the potential, especially if the Fed raises rates, whether it's this week or by the end of the year. We have the potential of making our way back up towards 110, 115, 113. Okay, and I mean, look at the potential of that move, guys. I mean, it really could do it. And like I said, I want to be part of it. And I know these are the types of moves, guys, that we dream about. And if they play out, they don't happen that often. You can see like a move above parity, it's gone. Okay. All right. I spent way too much time on the Swissy already, but I get excited thinking about it. All right. So today, 98.45, big resistance. This is my next add point. If we can get a solid break above 98.50. Next resistance, support now on dips. Well, we shouldn't really even come down here anymore, but 97, the 97.40 would be really, probably pretty strong support. I think if we break back below 97.40, I might not stay long. I might actually exit if we break back below here, because then it would end up being a false breakout. You know what I mean? Like it's making its way up, and then all of a sudden it falls back below here. I don't think I could stay long. Okay, so 97.40 key support. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the yen. So the dollar yen has been weak. And what's surprising is that the stock market futures are down a little bit. I mean, we're down 20 points in the Dow futures. NASDAQ futures are down 9. S&P is down 3. I mean, we're down a little bit. But the dollar yen is pretty damn weak. And I think a lot of that has to do with, the euro yen really breaking down. Okay. I sold some euro yen on Friday, just so you guys know. Just a little bit, but I had to get short because this breakdown. But you can see this is a really massive move in the euro yen. So, and I'm already short the dollar yen. I have yen exposure. As you guys know, I have the Canadian yen short and the New Zealand yen short, so I'm still short those two as well. I just I wanted to get some more yen exposure. Now we do have the Bank of Japan. I think let me double check. The BOJ rate decision will be on Thursday night. Okay, so Thursday night, Friday morning. I will not be short the dollar yen heading into Wednesday, but I don't mind having some yen exposure. I now have some euro yen, Aussie yen, or excuse me, New Zealand yen, Canadian yen. I don't mind having some yen exposure. I don't think I'll be in the dollar yen. But anyway, so the dollar yen has actually turned pretty aggressively here. So we hit 161% extension and stopped. You can see last move, 161% extension, stopped. So that means that this resistance is now pretty key. All right, that comes in at 121.45. We're just going to call 121.50. Okay, now support. God, we did a spike low here, so that spike low overnight should hold. Should. But that spike low comes in at 100.77, isn't it? 120.77. Yeah, so that should hold today. If it doesn't, then we're probably seeing some risk aversion hit the market at the same time. Oh, let's see, euro. Sorry guys, I need to change that. Look at this stuff changing. Pretty crazy, huh? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go into the Canadian. Okay, so here's your dollar Canadian. So remember we have this inverted head and shoulder pattern. It's complex. Okay. And matter of fact, it might even look something more like this. Okay, but it's a complex head and shoulder pattern. For those of you guys that missed it last week, shoulder, head, shoulder. Targets up here. Okay, we're not quite there. How we're sitting on support here. It's 38% retracements holding this far. Okay, so any move down here to this trend line support is going to be very well supported. So that comes down at basically 131. So 131 is going to be really key support today. 1.31. If I can get long down there, I wouldn't even mind buying the dollar Canadian down there if I can get it. That's pretty key support. Resistance 132, obviously. We are still in a range in the dollar Canadian. Okay, let's take a look at the Kiwi. Man, the Swissie's hitting new highs. New highs. How many of you guys are? Is anybody along the Swissie? Anybody? Scott is. Nick, Thomas on the pound Swiss. Eric is. Nicholas, Gary, Rick. A few of you guys. Okay. Kathy is. Wit. Thomas from 9790. Good. Okay. All right. I'm just wondering if any of you guys are taking a stab along with me. I really, this is, like I said, it's starting to take form, and God, I mean, if we have any indication from the Fed, if the Fed gives us good indication that rates are going to go up in December, even if they don't move this week, which they're probably not going to, but if we get good indication they're going to raise in December, you could really see the dollar take off, going into the end of the year. Yeah, we could see the euro back at 105, the Swissy up at 102, 104, somewhere up there. So anyway, Dan's long the Swissy back from 95 cents. Nice. There you go. That's sweet. Okay. You're in a really good position, Dan, as a result. That's great. Let's go back to the Kiwi. Okay. Here's the New Zealand dollar. So New Zealand's had a little bit of a bounce overnight. I really don't know what to do with the Swissy here other than, I'm short, just so you guys know. So, but I don't know if there's anything to do right now at this moment. Let's get rid of this real quick. Don't need that one anymore. I was, thinking that maybe, oops. This support's going to be pretty key on the way down. So that's 67. Let's just call it 67.30. Okay. Resistance is this red line right here, that double top, if you will. So 67.30 is support. And then resistance is 68. We'll just call it 68.50. And we are in a range. Okay, I'll be back in a few moments. When I come back, we will continue on with the Aussie dollar index. We'll do the peso, Swedish krona, Norwegian krona. We'll check those when we get back. And don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a few moments. Thanks. Hi traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back. So let's go into the Aussie dollar. Let's get that one out of the way and hold up for you guys. Okay, so here's the Aussie, and very similar to the Kiwi. It's kind of like, what do you do with this thing? So resistance here will be, 73 cents. Okay, it's obviously, you can see a lot of reactions up here at 73 cents. You got this trend line that's coming in. Um, let's remove that for a moment. I actually think through 73 73 cents to 72 cents. Those are the reaction areas, and those are the areas that I think we just have to be aware of right now. We're smack dab in the middle, so if you get to 73 cents, you can probably short up there. 72 cents, you might be able to take a manageable risk long. I don't know if I would actually do that with the euro dollar breaking down, but that's I think that's how you have to play it. 73 cents to 72 cents currently. So support 72 cents, resistance 73 cents, and let's go into the dollar index. Okay, so the dollar index is obviously pretty strong at the moment, but we are facing some really key resistance here. Okay, and this is a 4-hour chart of the dollar index, so let's do this. And you can see really how important that high is. You guys see how important that resistance is? That tells you how important this 110 level is in the euro dollar. Okay, it's not transferring over very well, but let's see if we can go to the daily chart. You can see it. Okay, so here's the daily of the dollar, and that high is so important. So the high 97.30, 97.30. Obviously, very, very important resistance level, and support. So any dip now down to the breakout point, which would be 96.65, this should be very well supported. Okay. All right, let's see if there's anything to do with the peso, and if there's anything to do with the peso and the Nordic currencies. Now, with the stock market showing a little bit of weakness, the peso probably is a little firmer this morning, but I haven't looked at it yet. Oh yeah, nice reaction from that spot. You remember that breakout point from Friday, right? I'm probably not going to write down anything here, but you can see the peso supported a 38% retracement. Actually, it looks very flaggy for those of you guys that trade it. I'll be trading the peso more now. I'll probably look at it like that. I don't know if there's anything to do with it right now. Maybe if you can get another dip back down to 1650, but all right, here's the Norwegian krona. Now, regarding the Norwegian krona, kind of looking at the crude oil market's not really doing a whole lot, but crude does look weak, so the Norwegian krona could just start spiking up at any time. Swedish krona, I'm really excited to be able to trade these again. So, oops. Swedish krona, nice breakout, but we're actually mid-range now at the 50% retracement of the entire range. Let's get rid of this arrow. So obviously it happens. So I mean, obviously, if the euro dollar breaks through 110, you know, you have no other direction to trade the Swissy or the Swedish krona, but be on the long side. You know what I mean? Okay. Um, well, I think that's it. I think that's it. Here, let me remove the peso. And yeah, we'll start exploring like other currencies too. You know, we'll start looking at, you know, the rand and you know, maybe the Turkish lira, and start looking at some of those in the future. But these are the majors, and there's your bias chart. So I'm going to let you guys get that information, and let's go over to some of your questions. So, oh, Eric had to leave. He goes.